And joining us on the debate is Dr. Rajiv Nayan, Senior Research Associate at the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defence Studies and Analyses. It's an Indian government-funded think tank headquartered in New Delhi. Dr. Nayan, welcome to DD India News Up. Good to have you join this discussion. Now, the talks have begun in Oman. You think it's a welcome sign, a good omen?
Yeah, definitely. It's a first step towards breaking the ice. For long, both the countries were at loggerheads.
Right.
And the way the Republican administration was dealing with Iran, it looked that there could be a crisis. But interestingly, Trump, who is known for throwing surprises, had thrown a surprise in the very beginning of January. In fact, even before that, he had just hinted that there could be a talk with Iran. It really stunned the world because he was the man who had somehow just sabotaged the deal which had been negotiated earlier by Obama administration. And the same man talked about cutting a deal with Iran.
Right.
So that was really a welcome step. Yes, of course, in his true Trumpian style, he said if it doesn't agree, then there could be bombarding. So this is, sometimes people don't take Trump so seriously because he has got the habit of like mixing things and adding to it. So he said, but yeah, the welcome sign is that he is really pushing for negotiations. So it's a great respite for the world and for Iran and America, United States, of course, for both.
Indeed, as Winston Churchill once said, Dr. Nayan, jaw is better than war. The fact that the two countries are sitting around a room or a table or a building to talk to each other is in itself an improvement. But what are the red lines for the two negotiating teams, Dr. Nayan? The US, on the one hand, seems to be indicating that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and that the US wants full and complete dismantling of Iranian nuclear program. But Tehran thinks otherwise. So what are the red lines for the US and Iran in these talks going forward?
Look, first, building nuclear weapon is not a red line because Iran doesn't maintain that it is working towards building a nuclear weapon.
Okay.
That is a fact.
Okay.
And it just wants to indicate that it wants to signal to the United States that, look, I have got the capability. If you just torture me or if you just push me to a corner, I may demonstrate that I can build a bomb. This is what it has been showing or it has been demonstrating for several years or say we can say several months. Like data is coming, all American think tanks, of course funded by or supported by their intelligence agencies, are pointing out that Iran has got about 275 kg of enriched uranium, which is enriched up to 60% level. But some are saying that it has enriched up to 83.75. The Arms Control Association had come out with a report. So again, there is a variation, and they said like up to 20% enriched uranium is about 607 kg, and still it has got larger amount of 3,655 kg of 3.67 enriched level, which is the threshold level of JCP or Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. So what we are witnessing that there is with different amounts which Iran is still freezing. It is not going whole hog to enrich all its uranium up to the weapon grade level, but it has reached, no doubt, it has reached the level, and it has somehow increased the level of enriched uranium, higher level of enriched uranium. And what it may do, it is not that it will not scale down. It may not dismantle, it may not agree to dismantle its uranium enrichment capabilities or facilities, will not dismantle its facilities. What it will do, the same, it will bring down to 3.67%, or just to demonstrate that, okay, I can bargain. So maybe 4%, maybe 3%. So something like that it will come down to. The United States will also stop insisting on completely dismantling the capability or the facilities. So this is what we
Right.
may see negotiations in the coming years or next week when they are going to meet again on Saturday.
Right.
Second, the real point of contention is about missiles.
Mm-hmm.
And the Israeli lobby wants taking out of the Iranian missile capability, which it is not going to agree to. Now, how they are going to manage it, that will be a matter of real interest. Third will be about that this is what they are really feeling sigh of, and they are feeling relieved, and that is no discussions on Iranian proxies. They expected that there will be some linkage between Iranian proxies, means Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis. So that did not apparently come out in discussion. This is what Iranians are informally indicating
Okay.
to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that is again that red somehow what you say red line you may say or you may not say, but yeah, that is there. That is very much there. So this is what we
Right.
witness. In red lines are being there and already there. So, but there will be some compromises because both sides understand that there should be a deal.
Okay.
And thankfully, it is coming from Trump's side.
Right.
Arachi is the veteran. He was the number 2 man in the last JCPOA negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, he knows the American nuclear establishment very well.
Right.
And he knows all the points of pulls and pressures.
You spoke about compromises, Dr. Nayan. I'll come to that in just a bit. But, hearing you, I can draw up in my head two scenarios. One, as you say, Iran does not want a nuclear weapon. And Iran says, on the other hand, there's another scenario where Iran could choose to have a nuclear weapon, could weaponize its uranium enrichment to a higher level and, get within months of, building a bomb. There is also a school of thought which says Iran could expel IAEA inspectors going forward if US keeps up the rhetoric. Also, Iran might choose to quit the NPT altogether. So, how sanguine are you that Iran, for all practical purposes, does not want to acquire a nuclear weapon?
No, look,
Especially,
Iran
Dr. Nayan, given reports that some in Tehran want a Middle East, a nuclear-free Middle East, in other words, nuclear-free West Asia, meaning thereby that Israel should also give up on its nuclear weapons.
Yes, of course, Israel has got nuclear weapons, but they don't acknowledge. This is the agreement, famous Golda Meir agreement, which they had. You don't acknowledge, don't say about, or don't dismantle. You just keep it in the basement. The famous phrase which we also talked about in 80s or 70s. Mr. K. Subramaniam was famous for referring to this bomb. India should also keep a bomb in the basement, but that is different thing.
Okay.
Just now, I don't think Iran will be seriously negotiating about acquiring nuclear weapons in place of dismantlement or not acquiring nuclear weapons in place of dismantling of Israel. It knows that it is not going to happen. So it will be a non-starter and it will unnecessarily start the tension with United States.
Okay.
So that situation it will not like to have. Now it wants to have its famous $6 billion, which is parked in Doha, and it wants to get it released. I think this is its immediate unlocking of that fund is its immediate goal. Plus, not raising the level of tension with United States or with Israel. Somehow it wants to come down. It knows that Trump is highly unpredictable. So better don't get into that kind of situation. Have you just drag United States into some kind of deal so that there is sanctions are removed. Iran starts functioning relatively better. I will not say normally, but at least its economy starts working well. It starts supplying oil to the world. It becomes once again an important supplier of oil and energy, whatever, and other items also. So this is what it wants. So I think they have their focus too. United States also wants that its rhetoric, which it say that it will build the bomb. It knows that it is signaling. It is not really very serious. It has got capability, no doubt about it. If it wants, it may build bombs not in months, but in weeks. It has got delivery capability, everything it has got. So that is not an issue for Iranian. But somehow it is resisting, and that we must appreciate Iranian leaderships. And third thing about that, as you mentioned, that NPT thing. NPT again, it is a kind of a bargaining stance
Okay.
that it says that yeah, it is there. So I will be withdrawing NPT is not a difficult job. You
Mm-hmm.
just give a notice. Any country has got the right under Geneva Convention to enter into or withdraw from a
Right.
treaty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a different issue, and it has been raising its voice against functioning of NPT. And in each and every PrepCom or RevCon, it presents Iran presents a very well written papers, working
Okay.
papers, whereby it accuses United States of violating NPT. That it says that nowhere in the NPT there is restrictions or prohibition on enrichment or reprocessing
Right.
rights of the country of a member country, but it says that the United States unnecessarily forces a country to restrict all these two activities. Second, on export control, it maintains that export control is basically a violation of
Mm-hmm.
NPT. So these papers and very legally very high standard. These papers are of very high standard,
Okay.
and they are presented every year. But somehow the global knowledge order is based on American thinking or
Mm-hmm.
Western thinking. Iranian arguments or Iranian papers are generally
Right.
not forget about taking
Fair
seriously
enough.
by the Committee of Nations. But it is
Fair
very well
enough.
written, legally very sound.
Right. I'm afraid that's all we have time for. I will have to leave it at that. As Dr. Nayan says, from an Iranian perspective, the limited objective is to drag the US to talks, ensure that some sanctions are lifted, some restrictions are lifted, and possibly help Trump get a Nobel Peace Prize. Who knows? We leave it at that. Thank you, Dr. Nayan, for joining us and sharing your thoughts
Thank
with our
you.
viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.